I could share with you so many of my dad's stories, but what I can't share with you is his voice, his passion, his expression. I just can't do it. They're gone. I loved listening to his stories, and I encouraged him to write them down so we would have a record of them. I wasn't really into cameras or videos or, it just kind of felt unnatural to me back then. But what I did enjoy was just sitting with him and listening and enjoying. And honestly, at that time, that was enough. But now, I wish I had more time to sit down and listen to him, to have more conversations, just to spend time with him. But this time, I wish that I had a camera. But sometimes life, it moves down a different path than what you expect. You get busy, you're working, you're trying to survive in life, and you're always thinking, you know what, I'll have another chance later. Always later. But later, a diagnosis comes. And the stories, they're just not that important at that moment in time. They just aren't. But those stories, they're just sitting there. They're sitting there in silence while everything else is getting loud. And now, these stories, I know them, but I don't get to hear them in his voice, his expression, his passion. I don't get to feel his warmth. I don't get to feel his words anymore. And we think these are just little things until they're just gone. And I think that quietly that's a regret that a lot of us have. But I don't think that the only problem is losing stories of the past. I think that a deeper problem is that life starts moving so fast that we don't notice it, even as we're living inside of it. Days, they just become routines. We wake up, we eat, we go to work, we scroll, then we go to sleep. Then we repeat the next day, the same thing. And eventually, time, it just starts to blur together. Our kids, they've grown up. Our parents, they've aged. Our friends drifted. Entire seasons of life have just disappeared. Now, this reminds me of when I went to my father's memorial. I took a long walk. It was a path that I took so many times when I was growing up. It was almost a daily routine for me. And halfway through it, I had a realization. I was like, did I realize the last time that I made this walk that it would be the very last time that it was a routine in my life? Entire seasons of life disappear. Modern life, it just keeps moving forward consistently. And I think a lot of us, we feel stuck behind a wall. We're watching time move forward without fully living inside of it. We don't just lose the past. We lose the stories that we are building right now as well. And what hits the hardest is this. I think life has just become too shallow, not fake in an obvious way, just disconnected. We document everything, but we preserve nothing. Thousands of photos, thousands of posts, but absolutely nothing in depth. Almost no real conversations and absolutely no wisdom passed down. We know what people had for lunch, but we don't know what shaped their soul, what shaped who they are. We were built to experience it, to reflect it, and pass it on. That's why stories matter. Not because they pause time, but because they remind us that we were actually there. We are here, that our lives mean something, that the people before us mattered, that we matter, that our families matter, our kids matter, our parents matter. Maybe if we slow down, we can reconnect with what is real again. So now, when I sit down and record someone's story, I'm not just making a video. I see it as preserving depth before time comes in and washes it away. Because someday, someone may need that story. Someone, your daughter or your son may look at that turning point in your life and need to apply it to their own. Even if they don't realize it yet. That emotion, that voice, that passion, that's what gives your story strength. And that might be the strength that somebody else needs. And maybe that's part of living intentionally, not trying to hold on to time, but making sure what mattered doesn't disappear with it.